with us, everyone. This is Melissa's first time giving a webinar, so she's learning the ropes. So this is going to be great.
All right. Okay, so I'm here. Just want to welcome all of you to our 20-minute training webinar on basic billing. We're going to be recording this webinar and we'll post it on our webinar page and the Help Center when it's over. Once it's over, we will have an optional, as Leroy mentioned, 10-minute Q&A. If you use the chat, we will try to answer those questions while we're going through the webinar, but if not, we'll get to them at the Q&A session, and that will be recorded and posted so you can review them. So I'm going to share my screen. As you can see, we've started on the case flow page. I'm going to show you a few places you can invoice. You can go to the manufacturing manager, the create invoices, and also the case record, although case record we are going to cover in our next webinar on advanced billing. So for those of you who'd like to complete and invoice your cases all at the same time, you come to your manufacturing manager, go to your manufacturing cases, and choose the cases that you want to invoice and complete. Just come up here, complete with invoice creation. It's going to have you edit with each one, which in my opinion is a little bit of a pitfall to this one. Takes a little more time. So we can decide, do we want to edit this or we're happy with it? We just move on. Maybe this office, we're going to give them a 5% discount, but we also realized we kind of rushed this case out. They called, they were very upset, needed it sooner, and we went ahead and delivered it on Monday. So we can also change this date, but I want you to remember this invoice for Jeff Knowles. If we should decide maybe that we don't want to do these right now, we're not going to invoice them, we'll just close that out. Now, the next thing is you can click on here and you can go to your billing dashboard, which gives you all of these categories, or you can just go straight to the category you want. And we're going to go to create invoices. This would be if you want to batch invoice. So you just want to create a whole bunch at the same time. You're confident that they're correct or most of them are correct. I always like to sort by client because then it printed them in order. We would go down and choose either all, or we'll just choose a few that we want to invoice. We're going to hit the approve and print. Oh, we've got somebody who's got something we didn't bill for. And now you're going to see how they're in order by office for you. Susan, just go right on down. The next thing we're going to cover really quickly are credits and debits. We get a lot of questions, in particularly about credit memos, when to use them, what they do to the balances, what do they do to the statements. So you can create a credit in a couple different situations. Maybe you want to give a new client, they send their first case in, and you say, when you send your third case in, we will give you $50 off of that case. So you pick your new client. And your amount. This is when you would want to retain it as an available credit. You don't want to put it on an invoice yet. We have a lot of questions about when would I want to retain it. So that is one way. Think of it as like a coupon. And you hit create. And here we see it. And you've got that credit memo. It begins with a C, and you can print it and send it to your doctor. Now, let's say we have an office that you ran the wrong credit card. They called you, they said, this is the wrong credit card, and you need to create a refund for them. Again, you would create a credit. And this time we're going to apply it to an invoice. And we'll just go ahead and apply it to this one. When you have a list of invoices, it is going to take with the other one, the oldest one. It's going to start with the oldest, although you can select or deselect other ones. Now, for those of you who are using our WePay service, you do not need to create a credit for a refund. There is a refund button under that that's right in LabStar. It will take care of all of it, just like it processes your credit cards. For those of you who aren't using it, if you're interested in processing your credit cards through LabStar, it's now open to all subscriptions. We've got information about that on our help center, or you can just ask about it during the Q&A. The other time that you might see a credit show up is when the doctor overpays. So your doctor owes $5,000, but they misread it and they send you $5,100. You're going to end up with a $100 credit for them. That is not something that the lab creates. You're not going to have something with a C like this on it. Debits would be, they're much more unusual. They're going to be same as charges. The debit memos are going to be charges that are additional. One way that would be good to use it would be if you have an office that you ship to and you want to just charge them for the shipment, everything in one box, as opposed to invoice by invoice. You could just put shipping charge, or you could use your tracking number. Put the amount. I know I misspelled that, but we're going to keep going here. Then you can print this, put it in the shipment, and you'll see that all of the debit memos come up with an A. We'll cover some maybe not so common or even other things you can do for debit memos in the next webinar on advanced billing. I'm going to show you our payments page. In addition to making new payments from here, where you enter your client. And again, you can post date these or predate them. So maybe he actually sent his check in on the 31st, but you forgot to enter it. He only sent you $3,500. It's automatically going to be assigned to the oldest invoices first. You can unclick and put it on something else if you want. Maybe he's disputing that one. Oh, but see, I've already created a statement. It's not going to let me do that. And in the same way, you also have your methods here for your payments. You can add a credit card to save for future use. If you're using WePay, the doctor can do that from their portal. And once you have that in, all you see is the 4 digits at the end, so you don't have to worry about security. Going to show you our balances. So balances are made up of your unpaid invoices, unpaid debits, unpaid finance charges added together, then less payments and credits. So when you look at your outstanding balance, for example, for this office, if you added these two numbers together, they're going to be $150 more than this balance. This is what they owe. But because we see this in red, we see that we have not applied a credit to something. So we can come in here when we see that red and hit apply credit. All right, we see here she overpaid by $100, and she also turned her coupon in for her $50 for her third case. And we're just going to say, okay, they're going to apply it to her past due balance. We're going to say yes. See, that number hasn't changed but the credit balance is now gone. If your clients have no balance, but they have a credit balance, that is going to show here. And it's going to show you that you owe them money. So right here, the parentheses means we owe them $3, or we have $3 to apply the next time they send work in. This is also where if you want to apply finance charges, you would select the ones you want, click your finance charge, and put your amount in. Next time we'll cover which months to apply to. Now for your statements, your statements are a snapshot in time. We created these. You can see that I created these today before. I did it before this webinar so that I could emphasize, here's where we went. It's going to tell us we've made some changes. There's something wrong. You can see we made changes to this invoice. It will tell you if you've if it's a payment. We can click here and it's going to say, we created it today. So we created it today, but our statement date is the 31st. This is, you took a snapshot, a selfie today. Hour later, you realized in the snapshot you had spinach in your teeth. So you take a new selfie. It's not going to correct the original one. So this is like your new selfie, and your statement is your original one with the spinach in your teeth. So you don't need to be afraid of a rollback. They don't hurt anything. In LabStar, we don't officially close books like in some accounting software, so you can always go back and fix things. So it's asking, do you want to roll back this January statement? Rolls it back as if we haven't created it. So now you can see, oh, we created the December statement actually on February 1st. And then you just do a new statement. Now, when it comes to the credits, if you have cases, invoices that you want to edit, if you have credits that you're giving and it's for a past amount, you've already run your statement, it's already been paid, I would strongly urge you to create a credit memo. If you do that, You don't have to roll back your statement. It's just going to show up on the next statement that you run, and you can put that note. So in our example of our client had something from November, they called and said, hey, you shouldn't have charged me for this remake. Instead of going into November and editing that invoice, just create a credit. Mark it on there, remake for such and such case, and tell the doctor that's what you're going to do. I'm going to send you a credit memo. It's going to come off your next bill. That'll keep you from having to roll back and redo statements. Now we also have people.
Sorry to interrupt really quick.
No, go ahead.
You allow Esther in on.
Yep. Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so now we're going to go on and go to the statements. Well, in our statements, you're going to see, and this is confusing for some people, this is this doctor's statement balance. This is, again, showing everything from January. They don't owe anything. They're current, good customer. You'll see with the Gotham Dental, again, they owe us some money. They're past due, so it's going to show us anything they didn't pay from before January 1st, but it's only going to be their charges up to January 1st, no more. Back to our balances. The reason the balance does not match the statement balance is because of the charges this month. That's included in the outstanding balance. So this is not going to match your January statement. You've already taken that picture in time for the January statement. That concludes we're at our 20-minute. So Mark, so that concludes this segment. I do want to mention that on the 18th, we're going to have one on advanced billing that's going to go into some more details. You can check our webinar site to see we're going to have one on capacity schedules, client portals, barcoding, reporting, and advanced search. So I'm going to turn on everybody's microphone so that we can go ahead and have questions.
Yeah, and just a heads up for everybody, the advanced billing, we're going to go into a little more detail on kind of the most common questions that we get from our labs and kind of break those down. We're going to show you how we resolve those issues, like, the easiest way to find, hey, I can't find this particular balance, et cetera, or we're not sure what makes up this number. We'll show you where we normally will find that. So it's a lot more detail. This right now is just a basic billing, just like the normal ones that we go through during training, but the next one will be definitely pretty interesting. So yeah, any questions? Oh, someone had a question about finance charges. Melissa, do you want to explain those?
All right. I need to get back to my chat here, sorry. Okay, so on the finance charges, is your question how to do them? Can you be more specific?
There's no going over there.
Well, I'm having a hard time.
Oh my goodness.
Why don't we just show them how it's done?
Okay, so your finance charge, you would pick any one if you are charging finance charges for late cases.
Oh my goodness.
Or late people who haven't paid on time. We're just going to go through.
Actually, I think they
You would
closed.
choose who
They
you
actually
want.
told us yesterday
You're going to click finance charge.
So you just
Okay,
got
so the
something from
applied
UPS,
charges,
Rollback,
your
they did not
question
do their
is,
homework. They closed the shop, the whole thing, which is very unlike.
the question is, when do you want those finance charges to start? So in our example, you ran your January statement. Before you run the statement, if you want the charges to show on January, do you want the charges for December? Maybe yours is, it's due as soon as they get the December statement and they haven't paid it. If that's the case, you would start with December. Do you want it and then do 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? Maybe you don't charge for last month, but anything 30 days over you do, or 60 days over, or 90 days over. If you pick 90 days over, anything between last month and 90 days, no finance charges. So we're just going to say we do this. That's the most common. You choose your own percentage. I think each state has maximums. They've got regulations. We don't have one, so I like to do something silly and fun that would be way more than you could possibly charge. You just hit create, and all of the ones I checked, their new finance charge is going to show up right here. You can click on that finance charge, and that's the invoice for it. It's just going to tell you, here's your finance charge. Okay, did that make sense for you? Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, maybe the best way to ask these questions
Yeah.
is directly in the chat if you want to.
All right.
Yeah, if you have any
here
more
we have a new.
questions, feel free to ask. So you don't need to sign up for the next session. That's going to be, I think Melissa said, on the 18th of February. We're going to have a, if you went to our webinars page, we just had a button to join. It's going to be the same thing. So we'll be sending out reminders, though. We'll say, hey, there is a webinar coming up. So yeah, in 2 weeks from now, we'll have another one. Again, that one's going to go into a little more detail on how we troubleshoot the issues that we get for billing for most of our labs. And
if there's
this,
any, oh, go ahead, Leroy. Sorry.
And again, this is going to be recorded. We'll be posting it on the Help Center as well. And if you want to schedule calls with us to go over this as well, kind of a one-on-one, there is a link on the Help Center that says schedule a meeting. Feel free to do that, right? That's a one-on-one. You can schedule 30 minutes, an hour, and be more than happy to take you through all this information as well.
Yeah. We appreciate your time. We don't want to take up any more of it. If you have any questions, you can also just submit a support ticket if you have a quick one and you don't need to have a phone call.
Awesome.
So that concludes our webinar. Hope to see you guys again. Bye.
Thanks, guys. All right. Thanks, everyone.